Everyone, Dawid Venter here, and we at rAge from SA Gamer, and guess what? We've got a special guest again with us. This time it is Ryan Boyer, who is production manager on Far Cry 4. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great. Is it your first time in South Africa?
It is my first time in South Africa.
And what you thought of it so far?
I'm loving it so far. It seems like a great country, amazing expo. The turnout's been fantastic.
Great stuff. Ryan, look, obviously we had to talk about Far Cry 4, so I'm going to get stuck
should
into
be.
it.
Oh, you want me?
The location.
The location, yes.
Why the location?
Why the location? Well, I think at the end of Far Cry 3, we kind of had some ideas of what we wanted to do and what locations we wanted to visit. Believe it or not, up high on that list was animals. And we wanted to have elephants in the game. We wanted to be able to ride elephants.
Yeah.
So
we'll get back to elephants soon.
There's not many locations in the world that you can actually ride elephants. And so, as soon as we narrowed down that list, we needed to look at places that have, rich culture, rich history, and something that's great for storytelling, because that's all about what Far Cry games are really about. So we decided on, Kirat, which is a fictional country, but it is kind of based off of Nepal, Bhutan, and we actually sent some developers out there to Nepal and Kathmandu to actually observe the countries and learn about it a little bit, so we could really make a great game.
And how different was it? I mean, if you look at the previous Far Cries, Far Cry 2 is obviously based in Africa.
Yes.
Where number 1 and 3 had that tropical feel to it.
Yes.
How different was it working on this?
I mean, it's pretty different, because what we brought to the table this time around is the verticality. And when you start throwing in mountains and the large altitude changes, there's a lot of things you need to think about. How is the player going to get around? So we needed to make sure we had a new grapple hook.
Yes.
We needed to have a gyrocopter. And then also with the change in the altitudes, the reality is the flora and the fauna is going to be changing as well.
Yes.
So we needed a very dedicated team that was just focusing on, believe it or not, the vegetation.
That's unbelievable.
And that's all they did.
How much time was invested into that?
Well, we've been in production for over 3 years almost.
But I'm talking about the vegetation. Is that how long it takes?
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to make sure for next gen and current gen that we had stuff that made sense. And it's not just about the leaves in the tree. It's about the mix and what we call the collection systems.
Correct.
So as you go up and down through those altitude changes, you'll see that the biomes around you will change. The wildlife will change. It's not everything the same all over. It's totally different.
It's very a territorial scenario where in certain areas will be different things.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. If we look at Far Cry 3, it's probably a highlight in the Far Cry franchise.
Yeah.
Can we expect things like towers and outposts and all that to return to Far Cry 4?
Yeah.
Like Far Cry 3?
Yeah, absolutely. So towers are back, outposts are back, and actually on the floor at the demo right now, we're showing off fortresses, which are our new souped up versions of the outposts.
Oh wow, tell us a bit about it.
So, I mean, they're really tough to do. You're gonna need to have a full arsenal of weapons, you need to have all of your gadgets ready, all of your tactics in a row, if you're gonna take these ones down. And they don't appear at the beginning of the game, but there are a few later on, and they are quite challenging. In fact, I spent some time in the booth, and I've only seen a couple people finish the fortress.
Really? So they're really tough.
It is challenging, and I really like that. I think fans are gonna enjoy it as well.
Great. Now, if you look at the outposts and all that, and we look at co-op, which we know is a very big part of it now.
Yeah.
Is that going to be integrated into that kind of thing where you get assistance?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do, with co-op, you can do the outposts, you can do the towers, you can do all the quests and activities that you love doing as a single player, but now you can bring a buddy along with you, and it just ramps everything up. I mean, you can have one guy in a gyrocopter shooting rockets from high above, and you can go into the back all stealth-like.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's really great. So you kind of create these amazing stories that you used to do in single player, but with co-op with a buddy. So it's great.
Tell me, we're going to look at stuff like, let's say, Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed. And though I know Far Cry has always been an open world game, but has there been any inspiration from those games in Far Cry 4? They've been maybe going to see one or two elements.
Well, I mean, you're always drawing inspiration from anywhere, right? Other games, movies, television shows, and obviously there's a lot of developers that are in the Montreal studio.
Yeah.
And you're just going to draw an inspiration, but really Far Cry has a very unique feel to it.
Yeah.
It's alive. As soon as you get dropped in that world, you know you're in a Far Cry world, because you get that sense that the world is really alive around you. Not just the characters that you meet and the civilians that you come across, but like we talked about before, we've had a lot of time concentrating on the vegetation, the animals.
It's got that raw feel to it, if you can put it that.
Absolutely. I think there's no question. As soon as you get dropped in a Far Cry game, you know you're in a Far Cry game.
Now tell me, we're coming back to the animals, you know, and we've seen some really rough videos in terms of violent elephants.
Yeah.
How's it going to work? I mean, elephants, are they your ally? Is it a case of them, you have to be wary of them? How do you actually tame them to become your ally?
Okay, so I mean, they are your allies. I mean, all animals are pretty much neutral. Actually, we do have some aggressive animals that you might want to stay away from. Honey badger being the number one.
When we saw that, it was very hard.
But no, I mean, as long as you're not shooting at the elephant and turning it into a rage, they will cooperate with you. You will be able to mount it and ride the elephant. They have a charge ability. They can use their trunk to pick up enemies and throw them around. You can even pick it up, lift it up, and you can shoot them. I mean, it's fantastic. And then if you bring them into an outpost, you can hop off the elephant, and the elephant will continue in a rage because the enemies are going to shoot at him, which is not advised.
Not a good idea.
And the elephant can go off and basically will do a whole bunch of kills for you, so it's great.
No, that's awesome. But now tell me, you say you can mount the elephant. How do you exactly do that?
Cautiously. No, I mean, it's like any other vehicle. You can approach the elephant from the sides, and you'll be able to throw yourself on the back of the elephant.
Oh, great stuff.
Yeah.
Now, tell me the PS3 and the PS 360 version.
Yeah.
What can we expect of that? Is it going to be a dumbed down version, or is it pretty much the same thing that you would expect from the next generation console?
No, I mean, there's no dumbed down versions. I think Far Cry really takes our tech and our tools really seriously for hardware. You know, we have I've been meeting a lot of people here that are PC players, and we have a large fan base in PC as well. So what we really do in pre-production, before we ramp up the whole team, we're really making sure that we have the tech and the tools are pushed as far forward for each of the hardware that we're going to be working on. And the version that you get, whether it be on PS3, PS4, X360, or Xbox One, really you're going to be getting the maximum that you can get out of that console. We put a lot into it, really dedicated teams just to make sure that the optimization and the game is basically drawing as much out of the hardware as possible.
Oh, awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just go delve into the narrative a little bit. Just for a while. I mean, we had Voss in Far Cry 3, which if you're watching this, just go away for 10 seconds. You kill them off early. Now are we going to have this new guy with his pink shirt and blonde wig hair running around doing his thing? Is he going to be around for a while?
Look, I don't want to spoil anything about the story. I think what makes Far Cry fantastic is the great stories. I mean, you might say that Voss was killed off too early, but everybo's still talking about Voss.
He's a legendary villain now.
Absolutely. So it's hard to replicate, but I really think this time around with Pagan Min, we've actually managed to do it and possibly one-up Voss.
He looks highly intelligent.
He is. So he's a little bit different than Voss, you know. So I kind of liken Voss to the schoolyard bully type, whereas Pagan Min is more kind of like arm around your shoulder, whispering in your ear, nice to your mother. When she's gone, though, let's loose.
Very sneaky guy.
Yeah, very sneaky, because he has that intelligence, and it's a little bit different, so you'll get more out of it, absolutely.
Excuse me. Now, in terms of co-op, I know right now it's all based on sort of not the main campaign, it's more side missions and the like. Are there any plans in the future for maybe future Far Cry titles to make the campaign co-op?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say never.
Never say never.
Never say never, really. But for right now, we're offering it in the open world, so you can do, I mean, look, the amount of content you can do co-op is insane. You got the outposts, you have the towers, you have the quests, you have activities, you have hunting, you have everything open to you, so really endless amount.
And one last thing, the vehicles. Tell us a bit about it, because I mean, it's a bit different from what we had in the past. You can now mount vehicles and do all kinds of things.
So vehicles are back in a real big way. We spent a lot of time trying to polish them and adding a whole bunch of cool new features. So we have drive and shoot, so you can literally drive any vehicle and shoot at the same time. And we have vehicle-to-vehicle takedowns.
Oh wow!
So before, you know, you used to have to kind of pull up beside a vehicle or close them off, and everybody would get out and do that dance. Now you can actually engage in combat right away, so it's pretty spectacular. And if you're on the gyrocopter, you can actually do some vehicle-to-vehicle takedowns from the air. It's fantastic.
No way!
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be awesome.
The gameplay is always moving. It's very fast-paced, and I think everybody will really enjoy the vehicles.
Oh, awesome stuff. Well, look, Ryan, thank you very much for joining us. I think our viewers probably got a lot more out of that. But we hope you enjoy your stay in South Africa and what remains of it.
Yes.
Are you at least going to tour a little bit?
I will try to do a little bit after the expo, but right now I'm just focusing on meeting the fans, talking about Far Cry, and spending some good time with you.
Awesome stuff. We'll make sure he doesn't get around an African elephant. Trouble might come his way. Ron, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Keep well, man.
Okay,
Cheers,
great.
guys.